Welcome to this special episode of Worldly Wise, the Federal's weekly program that seeks to figure out trending international issues and help understand what otherwise may seem complicated. Today, we are taking a break from the Trump administration's shenanigans to discuss two related developments in international politics of significance. The first refers to the surprise call by Kurdish rebels to halt a decades-long armed struggle against the Turkish state. The second is Turkey's intense airstrikes on a Kurd enclave in northern Syria over the last several weeks. To discuss this, we have a Kurd representative talking to us from Strasbourg in France. The Kurds have had a tumultuous history spread across Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Syria. The community was shortchanged by European colonialists who deprived the Kurds of a homeland. Since then, the Kurds have struggled to retain their freedoms and identity in the backdrop of states which viewed them with suspicion. Turkey has been the most challenging nation for the Kurds. There, the PKK, or the Kurdistan Workers' Party, has waged an armed struggle for a separate region since its establishment in 1978. On February 27, that is last month, after decades of fighting the state, its leader, Abdullah Öcalan, asked the PKK to lay down arms and end the conflict with Turkey and dissolve itself. In short, he called off the armed struggle. A momentous move, this is expected to alter the landscape of the ongoing conflict between the PKK and the Turkish state. The other big challenge the Kurdish people face is in their autonomous territory of Rojava to the north and east of Syria. Under the banner of the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurds administer the region, but this is viewed as a threat by the neighbouring Turkish government of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The Turkish Air Force has been attacking the Kurdish areas in Syria, especially so since the fall of the Bashar al-Assad government on December 8 last year. To discuss these issues and the overall situation of the Kurd community, we have with us Fayik Yagizay of the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, who is talking to us from Strasbourg in France, where he is based. Yagizay represents the Kurdish parties at the European institutions in Brussels and Strasbourg. Welcome to the program, Fayik Yagizay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let me go straight away to the question. So, will Öcalan's call to the PKK to lay down arms change anything as far as Turkish-Kurd relations are concerned?
Yes, of course. The PKK, the foundation of the PKK, the armed struggle of the PKK, not only changed the Turkey-Kurdish relations, but it had a very big impact on all Middle East, which you say Western Asia. In India, they say West Asia, but we here say Middle East. And now the call of Mr. Öcalan to lay down the arms and to dissolve the PKK will completely again change the relations between the Kurds and Turks, the situation in Turkey and Kurdistan, and also in the Middle East. We believe that because the Kurdish question is one of the biggest questions in the Middle East, and it is the one of the most complicated problem because that it has been divided into 4 countries. The Kurds have been deprived of their freedoms, deprived of their linguistic rights, cultural rights, all fundamental rights. And now, of course, since the First World War, there was an opportunity that the Kurds could have their state, but unfortunately, because of the imperial powers decision, the Kurds were deprived of their independent state, and Kurdistan was divided into 4. Indeed, Kurdistan was divided into 2 before in in 1639, with Kasr-Şirin agreement between Ottoman Empire and Iranians, that time a part of Kurdistan was given to Iran and the other was in the Ottoman Empire. But then after the First World War, when the Ottoman Empire was collapsed, one part was occupied by Britain, the Iraqi Kurdistan. France occupied the Syrian Kurdistan, and after the foundation of Turkish Republic, the biggest part, half of Kurdistan, stayed in the borders of Turkey. And since then, the Kurds have problems, a lot of massacres, there are a lot of uprisings, and these all uprisings, unfortunately, are being ended with massacres. And these states, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, always are coming together, having a consensus in order to prevent the Kurds to have their rights. And since that time until now, the situation, the problem is going on like this. The denial of the Kurds is still going on in somewhere. Of course, after a big struggle and long struggle, the Kurds have got some of their rights, especially after the intervention of America in Iraq. The Kurds in Iraq got their autonomous region and rights, and now Iraq is a federal system. Constitutionally, the Kurds have their status within this federal system. They have their parliament, they have their government. So when you compare with the other parts of Kurdistan, in Iraqi Kurdistan, the situation is more better. And in Syria, especially after the civil war in Syria, also.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that.
Yes. Okay.
So as far as Turkey is concerned, and Öcalan's call now that the PKK he wants to wind up. So how would you assess what has happened over the last 4 decades? Have the Kurds made any gains, or it's been losses? I mean, how do you make an assessment of that?
Yes, there are two things. One, the situation in the world completely changed. As Öcalan mentions in his call, he says that we started struggling during the Cold War, when there was Soviet Union and the United States against each other, and there was a big influence of Soviet system on the leftist movements and PKK as well. So now the Soviet system collapsed in 1990. So after this, to be honest, it was difficult to continue this struggle as if nothing has happened. So that was a very big change in the world and a turning point that Öcalan mentions in his call. And another thing, there was a complete denial of the Kurdish identity, Kurdish language, Kurdish culture. But because of the struggle, the changes in the world, in the region, the Kurds got some of their rights, especially in Iraq, now in Syria, and in Turkey as well. With our struggle, now we have a lot of gains, of course, in Turkey as well. Yes, not independent state, not officially autonomous region, not federal system, but for example, we have a party, and in Kurdistan we get almost all the municipalities, almost all of the mayors are from our party. We have a lot of members of parliament. We are the first party in Kurdish region. This is all after a big struggle. And Öcalan sees that, he thinks that the armed struggle is not necessary anymore in order to get our rights, because now we have conditions that we can get these rights through democratic struggle, through peaceful means. Because Turkish state especially, not only Turkish state, Iran, Iraq, and Syria also are using the argument that our movements, legal movements, democratic movements, organizations are related with the PKK, and for them the PKK is a terrorist organization according to the European Union, United States, etc., is a terrorist organization. And as we are also related with the PKK, they say, they are oppressing us. They are not allowing our activities. For example, we are going to elections and we are electing our mayors, but because of the argument of Turkish state that our mayors are linked with the PKK, they are being dismissed and the trustees are appointed to replace them.
So
We are
now,
electing.
will this change now? Now that the armed struggle has been has stopped. I mean, Öcalan has asked for a stop to the armed struggle. Will this change for the better? Will there be more freedom for the Kurds?
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course, it inevitably it will change because Turkey is a part of Western family, and Turkey is a member of Council of Europe, is a candidate for the European Union, member of NATO, etc. A lot of close relations with the West, and the Western countries have a standard for other peoples, for democracy, for the rule of law, for the human rights, etc. So Turkey has to comply with this one thing. On the other hand, they will not have an argument that they are linking us, for example, our party, legal party, and other organizations in Turkey. They cannot link it with terrorism because there will not be any violence in Turkey. They cannot link it with the PKK because the PKK will dissolve itself. So it will be more difficult for Turkey to stop us getting our rights through democratic means.
Yeah. So,
we believe that it will change.
Yeah. So what is a little intriguing is that even after this announcement by Öcalan, why is Turkey still so, why are they continuing to bomb Syria and, the Kurdish enclaves in northern Syria? I mean, why is that? Why hasn't it reduced? Why do they see it as...
Yeah, this is really a question that we are also asking every day. It is unacceptable because Mr. Öcalan called for the PKK to convene its Congress and decide on laying down the arms and dissolving itself. So, which is Turkey is asking for. And unfortunately, now the PKK announced that they are following the call of Mr. Öcalan. They will accept to convene their Congress and dissolve themselves. But still, the bombardments are going on the guerrilla bases in northern Iraq. And on the other hand, on Syria as well. So sometimes we say that really, is Turkey sincere with this peaceful solution to the Kurdish question or not? Do they need a war in order to continue their existence, or do they need, for example, violence in the region in order to go on their government, etc. So it is really unacceptable, and we cannot understand it. But on the other hand, there can be some internal clashes within the Turkish state as well. There are some people who really want to solve the question, but maybe there are some people within the state and powerful who do not want to find a solution to the Kurdish question. So maybe this clashes also is the reason of these attacks on Iraqi Kurdistan, guerrilla bases, and on Syrian Kurdistan.
Okay. The other one is on Syria itself. After the exit of Bashar al-Assad, what is the status of the Kurdish regions in Syria? And what is their relationship with the new government that has come, the transitional government?
Yes, when the Syrian civil war started, we suffered from Bashar Assad's regime a lot. It was a kind of dictatorship, especially against the Kurds, and we suffered it from this government a lot. On the other hand, the so-called opposition, when we saw them, they were more dangerous than Bashar Assad's regime because they were all jihadists, they were all extreme organizations, and we did not trust them to cooperate with them against Bashar's regime. So that's why we decided, the Kurds in Syria decided to follow a third option, to defend their region, to create their security forces and military forces to defend their region, and to also create an administrative entity in order to run the daily life of the people, because it's about 5 million people are now living in the region where the Kurds, under the control of the democratic forces of Syria. We have to mention that they are not all Kurds. There are maybe almost half of the population. There are Arabs. There are Assyrians, Armenians, many other different ethnic and religious groups in the region, but dominantly the military forces are from the Kurds. That's why everybody say that the Kurdish region or the Kurdish forces, etc. But in reality, we are the how do you say, the bone, the main bone, the backbone of the region, but it's not only the Kurds. So we defended our region. We asked for the al-Bashar's government also to have a dialogue and to find a solution, because it's impossible to go on keeping Syria united as before, as a unitarian, a very anti-democratic system. We said that it should be more decentralized. It can be a federal system. It can be more decentralized, and power can be given to different regions, etc., etc. Because there are
something like Iraq, something like Iraq.
In Iraqi Kurdistan, yes. In Iraqi Kurdistan, yes. Yes, it is true. And unfortunately, the Assad's regime did not accept it. And that was one of the reasons that it was collapsed. And now
do you have the support of the Americans? The United States is backing you, or because it is caught between Turkey and the Kurd? So how is it handling it?
Yes, because after we defended our people and we created a self-administration, it was attacked by many different organizations, different terrorist organizations. Especially first it was al-Nusra, then the ISIS, the Islamic State, then Syrian National Army, which is supported by Turkey. They are all attacking the Kurdish region because they do not allow the Kurds to have their status in Syria. But we defended ourselves. So we, of course, are ready to have a dialogue with the new regime as well, because now it was supported by Americans, by Western world. Yes, we are also supported because, when ISIS, the Islamic State, attacked Iraq and Syria, the Iraqi army, the Syrian army did not resist against them. It was only Kurds who first resisted, stopped the ISIS, and defeated the ISIS. That's why the United States, not only the United States, but the international coalition supported us, and still they are supporting us, of course. And on the other hand, they, in order to, of course, limit the influence of Iran and Russia on Syria, they supported these HTS forces, the Jolani's forces as well. And now they are in Damascus, they are on power, and we are on the other region, northeast Syria, and we have also a big army, we have an administration system, we have more soldiers than the current government in Syria. We are more powerful than them militarily. We have more experience for running a state, the administrational system. We have an experience which is within the terrible civil war of Syria. We succeeded to run more than 5 million people's daily life on our region. So we say that we can of course cooperate with each other. We can have dialogue, but of course we should be included within the system. We should be included within the army. We should be included in the government, and we have to discuss this in order to be able to get more democratic and decentralized Syria.
What is the status of the Kurds in Iran?
In Iran, in Iran, officially there is a federal region called Kurdistan, but de facto, when you look at the system, it is very anti-democratic system. And there are a lot of uprisings because of this oppression of Iran. Yes, there are about 12 million Kurdish people living in Iran, but unfortunately, they do not have their fundamental rights. And there are a lot of executions. The people who are struggling for the rights of Kurdish people are being executed. Maybe you remember Jina Mahsa Amini, when she was killed by the police. There were a lot of uprisings, Jinjian Azadi slogan raised from Kurdistan. And then it became an international slogan for all people, for the resistance of women. So the situation, unfortunately, is very, very bad. I can say that it is worse if we compare with the other parts of Kurdistan.
Okay, so the possibly the best place today for the Kurds is in Iraq, since you have an autonomous.
At the moment, yes. At the moment, when you compare with the other parts, the Kurds in Iraq have the best position, and we believe that the Syrian Kurds also can have the same status. Maybe in Turkey, the situation is a little bit more different, because the Kurds in Turkey are more integrated geographically. I mean, half of the Kurdish people are living in the western part of Turkey. Istanbul is the biggest city of the Kurds. About 4 million Kurds are living in Istanbul and in western part of. So maybe it can be a different model, which is a more decentralized system, more democratic system, giving the right of linguistic rights, cultural rights, and of course political and identical rights to the Kurds, that the Kurds can be accepted, can be recognized as the Kurds, because according to the current constitution of Turkey, the Kurds officially are not recognized. We are recognized as Turks, but we want to be recognized as we are. We are the Kurds. We are not Turks. So that's the things that we are. And democratic politics. Now we have a party which is defending the rights of the Kurdish people. We are the first party in Kurdish region. In local elections, we are the strongest one and having the most mayors in Kurdish region. In the parliament, we have our members of parliament there. So if we democratize Turkey, become more democratic and recognize the existence of the Kurdish people, to stop these denial policies, then we believe that we can get more rights through democratic politics and peaceful struggle.
You are as a important figure in the diaspora and as a representative of your community. What is the role of the diaspora and the organization that you represent? And I believe you're also trying to get into a closer relationship with the Indian government. So where does that fit in? I mean, how does that? Yeah.
You know, yes, I'm based in Strasbourg, and I go to Brussels very often. I'm representing my party at the European Parliament and the Council of Europe. I am representing my party in different other political parties, in some conferences, some congresses, etc. So we are lobbying for the rights of the Kurdish people. we say that the Kurdish people are one of the most ancient peoples in the region. And the Kurdish people also, like all other nations, have the right to live in peace, dignity, and democracy, in stability. Yes, we maybe lost our chance to have an independent state 100 years ago, but now it is possible to live within the existing borders, but with our identity and with our rights. It's possible. Just if there is democracy in these countries, in Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, then we can get our rights through democratic struggle. But unfortunately, this is not so easy. So we are lobbying this among the Europeans and within the European organizations, especially the Council of Europe, the European Parliament, the Council of European Union, the Commission, and all other organizations, civil organizations, political parties, and etc. So we believe that our struggle, our diplomatic work here has an influence on the approach of the Europeans on the region and to support us.
What role do you see for India in this? I think you're also in New Delhi. You're also talking to the Indian government, apparently. Yeah.
Yes, I came to India 2 times and I had some meetings there before. We believe now India is the largest population in the world, and India is a developing country, and we have a close. How do you say? If we go to the history, for example, Kurdish language is a language of Indo-European language family. So we are coming from the same family. We can understand each other more. And we believe that now India is becoming more and more important in the world order. So India can play a good role in finding a political solution to the Kurdish question. And that's why now some of our friends are there and working for this and trying to get the support of India. We believe that there is enough potential work in India to get the support of India for the Kurdish question, for the Kurdish people to find a solution.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Yagizay. I think that was really enlightening and illustrative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I thank you too.